Well, what can I say about my first guest? She's hysterical. She turned her uniqueness and her relationship with her mother into one of the funniest stand-up routines I have ever seen. Please welcome Margaret Cho. Wow, I have to say, you look absolutely amazing.
You look beautiful.
Thank you, thank you.
You look great.
We were on The Nanny together almost 10 years ago, and I think you look better now.
Well, you know, that was such a fun thing.
Look at her.
I loved it. I loved it. That was so great. And I remember when I was on it, I remember Chester.
Oh, yes.
Chester, and now
Yes.
Esther.
And now Esther, yes.
Esther.
I can sit Esther over
Hi.
here. Isn't she cute?
Hi, Esther.
Chester lived to be almost 19 years old.
That's amazing. Well, I love that because he was really a big part of your whole life. He was always there with you.
And now she is.
I love it. I love it. Because I wore my medallion of my dog, Rafe. I don't know if you could see it.
Yes, of course I can.
He was 14, and he died a couple of years ago, so I'm very close to him.
Have you gotten another dog since?
I have another dog since, and I have 2 other dogs since, but, you know, you always fall in love with them.
Of course.
They're
but
so
you know,
wonderful.
I have a theory about that, because I always wondered, why did God make man's best friend not live anywhere near as long as man? And I decided that it was our lesson to learn that there's love after love, that we can love fully, and then there's still room in our heart to love again.
Yes, that's beautiful.
That's what I decided.
I think that's really amazing. I think that's really true.
Now tell me, were you always funny when you were a kid?
No, you know what, it really, I think I was such a shy kid, and I was mentally always making fun of people. And I think that's where it came from. And then I realized that, I wanted to be a comedian, and I told my mom I want to be a comedian when I was 14, and she was not. She was, maybe it's better if you just die. She was really not into it. Because my family, I mean, they're real immigrants, you know, and my father was deported when I was a child, so my family's super insecure about being thought of as American. So I was the only person born in America, so they would always shove me forward like, she's white! You know? So I mean, I had a kind of a hard time as a kid, because it was like and I was super insecure because I was really overweight, and I was just...
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because historically most clowns are tragic figures.
Right.
So do you feel like the comedy that you have is a way to express your inner pain?
I think so. I think it's a big part of it. And also, you know, I was super bullied as a kid, and so I wanted to grow up really fast. That's why I started my career so early, because I wanted to become an adult right away. I didn't want to be around kids anymore.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So was it through the comedy that you were able to turn your tears into laughter?
I think so.
And kind of own it?
Yeah, I feel like, to me, I always wanted to be beautiful, so I created a beautiful personality. I didn't see that I was beautiful when I was younger. And I mean, what I love about you is that I've always been stunned by your beauty. I've always thought you were so beautiful.
Oh, Margaret!
But you're also so funny too. And so how do you deal with doing it all, having it all? Where does that come from? That's not fair.
Well, you didn't mention the voice. See, that's the little fly in the ointment.
I love your voice.
But that's, you know, in the old movies, there's been a lot of actresses that were, you know, considered pretty, but they had funny voices. So I think that that's, you know, maybe I sort of thought that prototype was already established for me. Now, why did children bully you?
I think because I was really insecure, because I was very overweight.
Very overweight.
Very overweight, and I was really so shy and terrified, and also didn't like myself and didn't know how to make friends, you know. And I remember having a horrible time. Like, I went away to camp, and my mother's like trying to, you know, make it so that I would have friends and sending me to camp, and the kids were so mean to me. They put dog poo in my sleeping bag, so I couldn't sleep in it. And then, you know, of course now I love dogs.
Okay. So, did your parents know that you were having this problem, and were they supportive?
Well, I
of
don't
you?
think that they knew how to be supportive. I mean, my parents were they worked all the time, and so they didn't know how to support me. They didn't know how to help me make friends. I mean, because it was just that, you know, they're in a new country, and you know, they didn't really know how to make it better. And so I think I solved it just by growing up and going to show business, which is not much better for anybody's ego. That was really,
I know. There's a lot of rejection there.
Yeah, it was really hard. And it's interesting that you're talking about, like, people imagining that you're perpetuating a stereotype. I mean, that's what people say about me. You know, when I talk about my life or my family, they're like, oh, you're doing an Asian stereotype. And it's like, no, I'm just talking about my life.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be weird if my mom had a British accent.
Exactly.
You know, it wouldn't make sense.
What would have helped you as a child to have heard or had somebody tell you?
I think if I had somebody say, don't let other people tell you how you should feel about yourself. That's the most important lesson, but it's hard to communicate that to kids. And I think we should keep trying, though, that we should keep trying, especially young women. We need to make sure that they feel good about themselves, that they feel good in their bodies, and, you know, feel healthy and feel like they don't have to be too thin or crazy dieting. You know, I think it's really important to support young women in their body image.
I agree. I agree. Now, you have an album coming out, right?
Yes, it's out now. It's called Cho Dependent.
Cho Dependent.
And it's my comedy album. I wrote all these songs, and one is about my dog that I wrote with Patty Griffin, and I sang with Fiona Apple, and it's called Hey Big Dog, and it's a duet between myself and my dog, because I think there should be love songs between people and their dogs.
Totally.
It's a real love
It's
story.
It's an unconditional relationship.
It's the perfect relationship.
Everybody in the audience, by the way, is getting Margaret's new album, Cho Dependent.
Yay!
And thank you so much for coming on this show.